Hey there folks, welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art, and culture. And today we're going to be talking about the new album from Brazy the Boss, titled Alexander the Great 3. So here's a funny story. Last year I was approached by an indie rapper from Maryland asking whether I could cover his upcoming album to be released up in January. Now for me, I get a lot of requests to cover indie MCs looking for more coverage, but this looked on first impression to be more than just your standard mixtape rapper. For one, he looked to have been around for a fair bit, with a few established albums that he'd actually sold off of iTunes, and a slew of mixtapes too, all which he apparently produced and mixed himself. Now that did get me intrigued here. Could we have another Logic or a Big Crit coming up? This guy could be something interesting. Not only that, he actually conducted himself with a degree of professionalism that I definitely appreciated and wasn't just simply spamming me. And I figured, well, okay, if he's whack, it's in the middle of January. What the hell else am I supposed to cover around this time of the year? Now, granted, that sort of logic got me to cover Ray Schrimmer, but a quick listen through a few tracks here did show that he was nowhere near that bad, so I added Brazy the Boss to my schedule. Fast forward to now, and said schedule was groaning under the weight of plenty of other albums that people have been eagerly anticipating and requesting, like Joey Badass and Lupe Fiasco and Sleater Kinney and Viet Cong. And yet, I'm apparently taking the time to review an MC who doesn't have huge buzz or commercial acclaim behind him? Well, for me it's a matter of pride in order to honor my commitments and need to get through some larger discographies on top of my schedule. And you know what, I did promise to review this album. So after getting confirmation from Brazy the Boss that he did indeed want me to cover it with my normal degree of vitriol, I gave his new album a couple of listens. Do we got something special here? Well, the album's alright, I guess. I'm not saying it's great or something you need to hear ASAP, but if you're looking for a pretty decent hip-hop record that's pretty conventional and chill in its subject matter with decent wordplay and surprisingly good production, you should look up Alexander the Great 3 by Brazy the Boss. As such, there's not a lot I can really say about it, outside of some of the lyrical subject matter not exactly being my thing. But you know what? It's competently executed, which is saying something, and it is better than some existing mainstream albums. I'll take him over Ray Schrimmer any day. So let's start with our MC. And I will say that as a lyricist, he's not a bad MC. He does rhyme words with themselves a lot more than I prefer, and some of his hooks can be a little bit basic and bland, but when he gets a decent flow going, he's got some solid chains of rhymes that aren't bad. I'd be hard-pressed to find a lot of solid, memorable punchlines, but I had the impression more of his appeal as a laid-back, chill sound that's more reliant on not caring and effortless charisma than going hard. More in the vein of someone like Snoop Dogg or what Wiz Khalifa tries to do. While I'm not sure Brazy the Boss quite has it on the level of Snoop Dogg, his rhymes are better structured than Wiz's have been in a while, especially after Black Hollywood. It actually helps that his guest starts are actually pretty solid. Trademark to Skydiver's got a pretty slick, well-executed flow that's the highlight of Tall Glass. C-Ray makes the best of Ridin', even though it's probably the weakest song on the album. Vapaluki drops a pretty effective verse on Body Something, and Matt G makes the best of the hype track Maryland. Pretty good job there. But while Brazy the Boss might bring some technical skills, where this album really stumbles a lot for me in a big way is in its content, and that the majority of it feels pretty recycled. Outside of the frequent callouts for people to Google him or that he's listening to his own music, mostly in order to name drop another one of his records, it doesn't seem to have a lot to his personality and story beyond some very typical hip-hop cliches. He's got his dance songs, his club songs with plenty of weed, and while he's not quite as sleazy as some of his contemporaries, he's not exactly impressing me here either with incredibly interesting punchlines or concepts or bars or much of a story beyond his material outside of stuff that I've heard hundreds of times before. And that doesn't exactly make him all that distinctive. And the constant self-promotion all over this album doesn't help matters. I mean, I already bought the album, dude. Focus less on trying to make sure that I remember your name and the album and more on delivering the content that I will remember long term. And saying you deserve your success does not win any points with me either. But you know what? If I get anything from his vibe, he does have some chill, relaxed tracks like Tall Glass and Life is Good that I did like, where he acknowledges his success and realizes he's got nothing to complain about, which is a bit of self-awareness I did like. The one song that really did stick with me though was All Dogs Go to Heaven, a tribute to an old dog of his that passed away. And sure, this song is clumsy and a little bit corny at points, and it could have used a little bit of a tighter edit to get rid of some of the sidetracking, and in sharp comparison to a song like Make 'Em Purr by Sage Francis, it's not even close. But the sentiment's well executed and it did feel real to me, and I appreciate Brazy the Boss is able to put aside some of the bragging in order to get to something a little bit more honest and real. Definitely like that. But you know what? Let's be blunt here, the content is really nothing all that special. So why am I inclined to give him a pass? Well, it might just be the production. And the funny thing is, I wouldn't say for the most part it's anything exceptional or innovative. I'm not quite sure what it is about the synth tones that he chooses, but they aren't so much eerie or dark, it's just kind of spacey and ethereal. A little bit more liquid without being oily, with the brassier elements very clean without being overstated. Part of it comes down to the bass and the beats layering. Not quite as thuddingly heavy, with the percussion eased back just a little bit in order to let the synth melodies drift across the mix more effectively. And while the vocal layering could use a little bit more work to better fit the MC into the mix, it's a much more melodic in presentation than most modern trap-inspired production is today. And it worked for me. The title track synth tone is great, the layered snaps and beats against the gurgle and gentle shimmering waves of the keys on You Know is awesome. The clinking synth against the distant horns and pipes on Life Is Good. The stately horns and synths on Nonchalant with the looser bass line. The lumbering horns and organ on Body Something. And especially the piano and the steel guitar on All Dogs Go to Heaven. All those are really well done. All of it comes together to accentuate this album's flow, with the only real dud for me instrumentally on this album being Ridin'. The beat was punchy and strong, but the backing melody just felt swallowed and off kilter, and that synth over the chorus is so flat and atonal it did not work whatsoever for me. But you know what? Overall, I did mostly enjoy Alexander the Great 3 by Brazy the Boss. I've got a hard time calling it anything special on a lyrical level or all that thought-provoking, but to be fair, it's not really trying for that lane, more content to sit with chilling back and cutting back a real slick vibe. It really is a record that is coasting on good production, but Brazy the Boss does show some potential if you wanted to come on a little bit harder or put together some more interesting songs. As it is with this, I'm inclined to be a little bit charitable and give this record a very strong 5 out of 10, but only a recommendation if you really need a chill record that isn't really lyrical, but can build a good mood. Otherwise, yeah, look, Lupe and Joey Badass, they're dropping albums this week. They probably draw a lot more attention than this. But if you already heard those, it's worth a look. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you'd like to like and subscribe, I'd be more than grateful. If there's anything else I might be able to do to improve my presentation, or any other albums coming out that you want me to take a look at, the big ones that I mentioned in this video, they are coming, trust me. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to give them a listen. Until then, I'm Mark. You're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.